Okay, once again, here is the QR code for check-in. 6 sessions need to be attended, and then you also have to do a presentation. And so you can do that presentation as a recording, or you can join us on demo day. So that's going to be March 7th and 8th. So you have those options open to you. And I'm still seeing lots of people coming in. Okay. All right, so tonight's topic is customer discovery. And customer discovery can save you a ton of time. You don't want to be plunging your whole life into this startup business that you're considering if you don't know that people want this product. So the way that we find out if people want the product is by customer discovery. So customer discovery is not like finding everything out about your customers. That's a different aspect of marketing. This is about finding out whether people relate to the problem that you're trying to solve with your product or service. So I got stuff in my way. Now I can get to my next slide. Okay, upcoming. Tonight is Knowing Your Customers. Wednesday, we're going to be over at CSN again. We're in the 101 auditorium of Building D, and we'll be in that room every Wednesday throughout the rest of the course. And we will have the mentor session after the training session. So I jumped right into the slides, but what we need to do is spend a little time talking to people to find out how they did with their first week of coursework and if they're able to describe their business in a succinct way. So Joel Enriquez, I see you online. Can you unmute? And did you do the ad lib exercise?
We started to do it. I didn't finish it though, but I have a very clear description of the business in my mind, and
Okay, go.
I understand the front, the back, back of the house and front of the house analysis. I don't have the paper with me now. Do you have it? And
So the general form is my business does this. We
okay.
create value for our customers by doing this. We
Okay.
will partner with these people to deliver these services, and we expect our expenses will be these things and our revenue will come from these things.
Yeah. Okay. Our business is basically, in general, it's a graphic design business, but it has a specialization in package design and branding. The specialization was, by the way, the business is owned by my wife and myself. The specialization happened because she had very specific training abroad in Sweden, particularly about product packaging, and she got intensive training there. And in our practice in the Philippines, she was known as a package designer. So when we moved here to the United States, that was the part of the business that we hope to grow. We give value to our customers by developing labels and packages that has conformity with the regulations, that gives all the information, the exact information in what part of the label, and to make sure that the label stands out when they are put in consumer shelves in grocery stores. So I think that is the best value that we are able to give our customers. And on top of that, the mere fact that graphic design has been a concern and has been a practice of ours ever since we have, shall we say, the skill set necessary to make graphics that will stand out and to make the product different from a range of other similar products in the supermarket shelves.
Okay, and you expect to spend money on?
The product development is not a cost to us. Our cost would be making sure we are able to develop the right label by being aware of what the regulations are and what are the additional things you need to put in the label. So that's where we put our research and development on. I would like to mention, though, that we have been in this business for some time, but this time the reason why we enroll in this class is we want to pivot the business and do something else, which is relevant to what we're doing, but a little bit different. Number one, we would like to manufacture. We've been doing designs for clients, but now we want to do the design work for us. And we want to develop our own product line that we will manufacture and will sell. And the marketing strategy is a little bit different because
That's okay.
we'll be dealing with consumer preferences.
Yeah, this is meant to be a very brief description. So we're getting too much in the weeds with your business. So let's go over to Ashina Burke.
Hey, Maggie, this is Juan Rango. If you want me to go, I can go.
Okay. Why don't you?
Okay, how you doing, everyone? My name is Juan Rango. So what I'm doing, I'm in the process of developing a commercial cleaning company, and I know the market's saturated. However, I'm pretty sure I can make a dent in it. With that said, my commercial cleaning service, Elevate Cleaning Services, provide value to medical facilities, corporate offices, warehouses, construction sites, auto dealerships, retail stores, banks, government buildings by ensuring a clean, safe, and sanitized environment throughout advanced cleaning technology, eco-friendly products, and highly trained personnel. Our services help businesses maintain regulatory compliance, improve workplace safety, and enhance their professional image. In order to deliver value to our customers, we plan on partnering with property managing firms, real estate agencies, construction companies, government procurement offices, commercial cleaning supply vendors who help us achieve access to recurring contracts, post-construction cleanup opportunities, and steady supply of high-quality cleaning equipment and eco-friendly products. We expect to spend money on hiring, training our new employees and certifying cleaning technicians, acquiring and maintaining commercial-grade cleaning equipment, purchasing eco-friendly cleaning supplies, implementing technology and solutions for scheduling and customer management and customer acquisition, marketing, lead generation, and securing insurance and business certifications. And plan to make money by offering monthly, annual cleaning contracts, post-construction cleanup services, specialty cleaning add-ons, for example, carpet cleaning, floor waxing, high-touch disinfection, government and corporate procurement contracts, referral partnership, and emergency on-hand cleaning services.
Okay, that was very thorough. So when it comes to explaining like you expect to spend money on, you don't have to be quite so detailed. Labor, marketing, certifications and supplies. And then you expect to make, I thought that your expect to make money was a little bit more brief and was still informative because it told me the different types of cleaning that you do.
Perfect. So when I do my presentation, just kind of make it a little more broad.
Well, this is supposed to be a kind of a very quick summary of what your business does. It's not the presentation that we're going to do at the end. A lot of the sessions that we're having that lead up to it are going to be almost a separate slide themselves. So we're spending time on the important factors that you have to get for your business, but they will likely lead to a slide of their own in your pitch.
Thank you, Maggie.
You're welcome. Amina, I saw you had your hand raised. Do you want to come off mute?
You actually answered the question. I wasn't sure if we were doing like our 30-second pitch or if we were doing the actual presentation, but you answered the question.
Yeah, so no, our formal at the end demo day pitch is going to be 6 or 7 minutes. And so you'll have a lot of time to focus on the things that we will cover in the Pitch Decks 101 on February 19th. Okay, so that's the time that we'll be going on over the stuff that should be included in your demo day presentation. Charlicia? Did I have that right?
Yes, you did very well. So, hello everyone. My name is Charlicia. My business, Charlicia Miller. My business is Dynamic Tax Connection Services, and I focus on tax planning geared towards truck drivers and also daycare providers. And in the tax planning, they get bookkeeping, CFO services, and then wealth building strategies.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you. And I don't know if you wanted to give me any feedback on my little 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, that was very brief, and it tells me what you do. Do you have a notion of what you're going to be spending, what your expenses are going to be, who you can partner with to make your business more successful? And then your revenue
Yes.
stream is going to come from the truck drivers primarily?
Truck drivers and daycare owners. And then I have a goal of 45 clients for the year. And if I'm meeting my goal, I can make $1 million.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a healthy little business. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
so I have partners with I partner. So one of the strategies for passive income is buying REITs, real estate investment trust. So we're all in Vegas. So Bellagio participates in it. Top Golf participates in it. Um, Management companies, and so it's a safe way. I don't know if anybody's familiar with IULs, but Index Universal Life, because I have insurance background also, so I combine it together. But it's a safe way of building wealth to replace their income. So eventually, when they're ready to stop driving on the road, they have, you know what I'm saying, they have passive income coming in. And so that's one of I partner with a company that helps me with that. And then also I partner with the CPA, and I'm studying for my EA right now. I've been in the industry for 25 years.
Okay. That sounds like you're helping a lot of people. And thank you. Jennifer, you have your hand raised, and you're going to be the last one before we start diving into customer discovery.
Excellent. Thank you so much. My business is Elevate My Enterprise LLC. It's a woman-owned business in North Las Vegas, Nevada. We do business-to-business consulting. It's a startup. My goal is to provide training and done-for-you services for small businesses, because I found that a lot of small businesses start because somebody's passionate about something, whether it's childcare or cooking, but they're not always great with the business end. So my goal is to help them with that infrastructure piece so that their business can thrive. I have partners that do marketing, IT, HR, and my focus is training and development of staff, and then done for you services like handbooks and things like that, based on a consulting basis, whatever their business needs. Most of my costs are my licensing costs, software membership fees for the tools that I use, like Canva, and then preparing materials for the training experiences that I provide.
Okay. That was a very thorough and yet not too long explanation of what you're doing, and I get it. And I think you're probably providing a very valuable service to a lot of other people that are on the call with us, because they are starting new businesses, and in many cases, they don't know what they don't know. And you can probably help them.
Awesome. I would love to partner with more people.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
All right. So you can put your email in the chat. And so if people want to reach out to you, they can.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. So just a reminder that if you need any closed captioning, that can be found under the More menu. We've enabled it. So all you have to do is say show closed captions. All right. Okay, we're going to learn to know our customers. This is very similar to doing market research. This is boots on the ground market research. There's the other kind of market research that we'll learn about on Wednesday, and that is understanding where your product fits in the world of products and services. But in order to find out if there are any customers for the thing that we want to make, we're going to have to talk to them. We're going to have to discover them. And so we're going to do that in a two-part process. And that is by figuring out if there is a perceived problem, the one that you discovered when you decided that you needed to start your business. Just like I think it was Jennifer, where she noticed that other businesses weren't able to bring together all the kind of back office things that need to be done to run a business so that the founder can focus on the thing that they love to do. So she discovered an issue, and before starting her business, she should be going out and talking to customers. So what we have here is the process of creating and running a business. We ideate, we come up with the thing that we're going to solve, and then we're going to go talk about it. This is where customer discovery comes in. Then we're going to design the actual solution based on what we know and what we learned from talking to potential customers. Then we produce it, we're going to market and sell it, and then we're going to iterate. We're going to keep improving the product. And if we're looking to make a big change in the product, we're going to go through this whole process again. And we're going to do more customer discovery to make sure that any changes that we're going to make to the product are going to be welcomed. And here is an example. This is the Palm Pilot. Now, many of you are too young to remember when these were ubiquitous in business, but this was back in 1996. And now everybody has a phone in their pocket. People have phones in their pockets that are more powerful than the computers that we had in 1996. But this fella named Jeff Hawkins thought that he would like to have something that he could carry around with him and record his thoughts, his appointments, any to-dos that he needed to remember. And so in order to test whether he would actually use something like that, he built this little cardboard prototype on the left-hand side. So it was just made out of a couple of pieces of cardboard wrapped in paper with what he kind of envisioned the screen would look like. And then he whittled down a dowel and used that as a stylus, and the stylus would fit into the opening that you see along the right side there. And so it was a self-contained little unit. He put it in his pocket. He carried it around with him for about 2 weeks, and to see if he would actually use it, if he would remember to take it out of his pocket and write something down. And from that, he decided that he would. He talked to other people about it for that same 2-week period. Every time he took it out of his pocket, he was telling them what he was doing, and he asked them if it would be something that they think that they might do. So we went from this paper prototype on the left-hand side to the finished product in the center, which was called the Palm Pilot. And it was a way for keeping track of the most basic things that you could do with your smartphone when you got it. I don't think it had maps incorporated into it. And then the iPhone came out in January of 2007 and changed everything. But that was a very early prototype. So in order to validate whether there are customers for our product, it's a two-part process. We're going to ask potential customers if they identify with the problem and if and what they would be willing to pay to solve that problem. That's the first part of it. And then the second part of it, after gathering information from these potential customers, is to either make a prototype like Hawkins did of his Palm Pilot, if you can do it, or to be able to describe what your solution is and go out and talk to people again. And that's one of the great things about having Fremont Street here is you get a huge cross-section of different types of people. A lot of them are visitors from other parts of the country. And so you're getting a little bit of a sense of whether the product solution that you have would be marketable in a larger area than just Las Vegas or Nevada. If you're talking to people from Wisconsin and from Pennsylvania, and if they show enthusiastic support for whatever your idea is, then you have the potential of having a very scalable product that could be sold all across the country and perhaps even in other countries. So the process, let's get back to that. We're going to talk to potential customers, and then we're going to test the solution. So firstly, we need to be able to describe the problem in 2 to 3 sentences because we have to capture their attention, and most people do want to help you, right? So you say, excuse me, I'm doing some research. If you're young enough, you can say you're a college student doing research. People always want to help college students because they figure they're going to get a grade out of it. And if not, you can just say, I'm doing some market research. I have an idea for a business, a product, a service, whatever it is. And I'm trying to see if people would buy it or not. So first, let me just describe the problem. And you can start off with, did you ever notice, kind of like Seinfeld used to do, did you ever notice that when you wake up in the morning, you've got bad breath? And wouldn't you like to wake up with fresh breath? So you may start off that way, but really trying to identify the problem. We're going to describe it in as unbiased a way as we can, and then ask them probing questions that allow them to answer without being led to an answer. This may be the hardest part of the customer discovery questions, is making sure that they're open-ended. All right, so here we have all of these different customer discovery questions. And so, Roxana, if you can put the link in the chat, this set of exercises, it's a PDF file. It's also available in Disco. And it gives you enough room in the document for you to write out your answers the way that you're going to ask the question for your product or service. But these are the things that we're going to try to find out. You describe the problem in 2 or 3 sentences, and you ask the person, have you ever experienced this situation? And if we call it a situation rather than a problem, then that is a slightly more neutral way to draw out their answers than already identifying it as a problem. Have you experienced this situation? Is it a problem for you? Where and when do you experience this situation? And yes, you're going to have a lot of copies of these forms, and you're going to have to fill them out. Maybe I'm thinking old-fashioned and that it would be paper. You could do it if you had a tablet and you had the questions already set up, but you're going to be asking these questions over and over again. So you would want to have it set up maybe as a Google form so that you could ask different people the same questions. And so you want to talk to at least 20 people and not your family. Okay, so not one of them can actually be a family member, even if it's at Thanksgiving and it's the cousins that you never see. You should really be trying to find completely neutral people that you don't know. Even if you were to do it, say, at your church group, that is not as neutral as it should be. It should be people who really don't care what you think of them or what they think of you. It should just be complete strangers. So getting back to the questionnaire, if it's a problem for you, where and when do you experience this situation? Because you have this idea, You experienced it in your own personal way, and it may not be the same way that others are going to experience it. So you ask these questions to figure out if there may be other features or aspects that you can add to your solution to make it more broadly acceptable to other people. How are you currently dealing with the situation? What are you doing now? Because if it truly is a problem, then people are working around it somehow. And so if you have a solution that's faster, or you have a solution that everybody can do, then they may be willing to pay for it. But we haven't asked that question yet. We're still trying to discover more information about the situation. How often do you experience this situation? So it could be something like taxes, where you're experiencing it every year and it's really painful in April, but in September, it doesn't bother you, right? So it's a problem that you have once a year, and it could be a very intense problem for a very short period of time. And all of these things are going to work together as you formulate your solution as to what kind of pricing and how often you're going to offer your product. How interested are you in an easier solution on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay, so we have identified a problem, and now you ask them if they experienced it as a problem and how often they experienced it as a problem. But how big a problem is it? Is it a paper cut or is it a gushing artery? Okay, we have to fix the gushing artery. The paper clip we can ignore. So how interested are you in an easier solution on a scale of 1 to 10? So this is helping you to figure out how big and how prevalent a problem it is. How many others do you know that experience this situation? If we're going to create a new solution, how long should you have to wait for the solution to work? There are many instances where the cure is worse than the actual disease, right? So if it takes, and I see this a lot with software, there's a software solution that is supposedly going to fix every problem that you have. It's only going to take you 3 years to learn how to use it to solve all of your problems. Is that worth it? Are you going to stick with it for 3 years to learn how to make it do what you need it to do? On the other hand, if you have a solution that fixes one thing really well, really fast, that might be a market in itself. How much time are you willing to invest in learning that solution? That is a similar question to the one before. The other one, how long should you have to wait for the solution to work? So this would be more in the case of, okay, we're going to apply fertilizer to the plant, and within 10 days, we should see it be green, right? So we're waiting for the solution to work. The next question, how much are you willing to invest in learning the solution? That goes back to the software thing. Like, is it going to be easy enough to learn that I feel like I'm getting results right away? Are you willing to pay for a better solution? If you are willing to pay, how much would it be worth to you? And this is very telling. You really should ask these questions in this order because you want to understand what the perceived value of your solution is. If it doesn't have a high enough perceived value, you may not be able to make or provide it at a point where you can make a profit. So you have created a solution that costs $5, but people are only willing to pay $2 for it. You want to know that up front. You don't want to have ordered 10,000 of them and now know that you're only going to be able to make, you should have made $50,000 and you're only going to make $20,000. You're going to lose more than you're making. So you do want to ask these questions in this progressive order. And if you find after this first round of questions that they don't perceive enough value in the solution that you have, then you can go back to the drawing board and see if there's a way to add more value to your solution so that they would be willing to pay a higher price. But we don't want to lead them with what you think it should cost. We want to ask them how much they would be willing to pay for a solution. And if it's a one-time solution, how often are you willing to pay for it? So that kind of goes back to the idea of we've got this tax problem once a year. Just to get it off of my shoulders so I don't have to worry about it, I may be willing to pay more for a one-time solution. Of course, the alternative may be that we spend X amount of dollars per month on accounting so that when it comes time to actually do the taxes, that part is really easy. So there are different ways to deploy your solutions too. All right, do we have any questions at this point? Really, no questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, Jason,
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
just fine.
Okay, good. I was wondering, in the case of like, say, fashion or jewelry, if that's the kind of business you want to get into, what kind of problem is that solving there? Because it's like people don't really need to be up to date on things, but they also kind of want to be. I'm not sure how that kind of fits into your questions.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about this on Wednesday. So there are two main motivations for humans, right? We move away from pain and towards pleasure. And so a lot of the way that we can generalize things is when we're solving a pain point. And when you have an artistic endeavor like you do with fashion or with jewelry, you are having them move closer to pleasure. So that is harder to motivate. And it's harder for people to like let themselves have permission to find that joy. So it is a completely different message. And the messaging is more around you deserve this. You should relax. You should enjoy your life. You should have beautiful things around you. And so it's more motivating for them to be sort of treating themselves and feeling good about what they're wearing or what they're looking at or the environment they're building around them. It's just a kind of a different way that you do have to approach it. And so it is not as much around the pain solving.
Maggie, I'm gonna call you when I want to buy a new purse.
Do you want me to prevent you from buying the purse?
No,
or
I
would you-
want you to say that whole thing that you just said to
Oh,
me.
that you deserve it and you should have lovely
Yes,
things
yes.
around you.
I would appreciate that.
Okay, so did that help, Jason, at all?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and Joel, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, my question is similar to Jason's, but in a little bit different way. Because, for instance, while he is correct in saying fashion jewelry is not a necessity, and therefore you classified it as a product that goes toward pleasure. Like, for instance, the product that we want to develop are disposable party wares that serves a function already, and people know that they need it. So maybe a little bit less of the discovery questions that like you posted, because we know already that it's needed, but we want their experience to be a little bit more elevated by offering something that is out of the original. Like, for instance, we will do stunning graphics on the plate instead of just the regular disposable plates that you see in Costco and Walmart. It'll be a little bit more pricier, but not by much, but it still performs a need. So therefore it still solves a solution, but you just elevate their experience a little bit more. So it's kind of like in the middle.
Yeah, so you have a more beautiful functional piece. So I think the way that you have to appeal to those customers is that you really want to bring some flair to your party or to
That's
your
correct.
experience. Yeah. So again, it is sort of motivating them towards more pleasure, but also it is elevating their status, that they are doing something that is more original and more beautiful than just the bare minimum.
That's correct. So in that case, like, would you say I would not have to go through the discovery questions like the way you posted them?
I would say that you're still going to have to do some customer discovery, but we're going to go into the second part. And I think that the second part is where in your situation, you're going to be able to discover more.
Okay.
Because I would suggest for you, and we haven't gotten there yet. So the second part, we're going to bring a prototype or description after going back to the drawing board and incorporating the things that we've learned from this first round of discovery. You already know that people need plates,
Okay.
right? So I'm going to suggest that for you, when you go do your customer discovery, you're going to bring the basic Costco plate, and you're going to bring an example of your more beautiful plate. And what you should be asking of those customers is like, okay, here's a functional Costco plate. It's sturdy. It looks good. You may decide to go with the recycled ones. And so you need to be asking sort of comparison questions. Here is my plate. It is clearly more beautiful. It will elevate the theme of whatever party you're putting on. How much more would you be willing to pay than this plate? So let's say this plate costs $2. What are you willing to pay for my plate? How often would you use the fancier plate versus the regular plate? So here you're trying to get at whether they're going to use the plain white Costco plate most of the time and maybe twice a year for a special event. They'd be willing to pay for your plates. You should be phrasing questions. It's like, okay, so it sounds like you see this plate as a special occasion plate. How much would it have to cost in order for you to think that's worth it for me to have this style all the time, so that every time guests come to my house, they know that they're going to have something unique and beautiful, but I don't feel like I am spending too much on this. I'm spending the right amount to have this elevated reputation and this beautiful environment.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome. You're welcome.
One question in the room.
Yes.
I guess my question would be, restructure the questions to learn is based on passion.
Roxana, can you either give her a microphone or rephrase or restate the question?
She does have a mic, but I guess.
1 second, Maggie.
Okay.
My suspicions were correct.
Okay, you should
Okay,
be.
try again.
Hello. Okay, so I was saying that I should restructure my questions because my business is basically fashion as well. So I wouldn't have any point. I would just basically have to kind of restructure questions, like I was saying. I guess that's my question.
Yes, you may have to adjust these questions, especially if, again, instead of solving a pain point, yours is more in the discretionary spending area. So, was it Joel? So Joel has a solution that solves a problem, but it's a more elegant solution than something else. So we're asking people to spend more to have this elevated artistic experience. And so you're trying to get in between there. It's like, yes, it'll hold the food, just like the Costco plate. And if it's strong and well made, it'll hold it just as well as those really strong plastic plates. The question is, how much more are you willing to pay for this? And Joel might also ask questions. You might also ask questions if there's one particular piece of clothing that you specialize in, might be overcoats, or you make beautiful scarves, or you do a whole fashion line and you pick a theme like a designer does every year. And so you make a line of clothing. So the question is, are you going to feel put together and feel beautiful wearing these clothes? And what do you think that it's worth for you to have this consistent expression of this clothing line for you? So you are going to have to change your questions because you're not really solving a pain point as much as you're building a brand following. And so you, as the personality at the front of this product, you will spend a lot more time building your brand and trying to understand who your customers are. Not so much whether it's a problem, because you're solving an age-old problem of clothing, but trying to figure out who are the people that have the lifestyle that enjoys your product so that you can reach more of them.
You have one person, Amina, online with the hand raised.
I saw that. Okay. Go ahead, Amina.
Okay, so I just want to clarify. So before I start asking these questions to these people that I'm walking up to on the streets,
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving them background information about what I'm doing, right? I'm explaining who I am, what I'm doing, so that these questions will flow with.
Yes.
Okay.
They should definitely flow. So in the workbook that we've linked, we actually have an initial script, but I would say that script is built on the pain solving product rather than the moving towards pleasure or expressing yourself type of product. So you would probably need to, again, people know what the thing is that you're solving, clothing or fashion or jewelry. And so the initial introduction is like, excuse me, I'm an artist and I'm trying to figure out what product I should build next or make next. I currently do this type of jewelry and I'm thinking about doing this type of jewelry. Do you have a couple minutes to talk to me? And so for you who are in these artistic wares, if you're able to show your work and discuss what you think that you would be interested in doing next, then you can really engage with them. And this first set of discovery questions that we just went over are fairly anonymous. For the artistic people in the group, if you can at all, get their name and email address and start building up your customer list in that way. And then once you have some customers of your artistic pieces, then you can ask them to refer other people that they think would like your products. And it's a very grassroots way to build your brand. But that's kind of how it goes. You have to build it a customer at a time. Amina, how was that as an answer? Inspiring?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So now we're moving on. So now that we've done all of those first sets of questions, and again, this part, as I talk about this page, it's going to be the pain solving type of solution. So we've spent time on Fremont Street. We've talked to at least 20 people. If we can get to 30 or more, that's even better. The more people that you talk to, the more information that you'll have to base your solution on. So you already had an idea what the solution should be. And now you've talked to another 20 or 30 people. And through this discovery process, you may have learned that your solution needs to do more. And you go back to the drawing board and you see if you can incorporate these other solution aspects that you've learned about. See how much cost it adds to your product. And so now we do want to take a little bit of time and see if we can figure out, okay, if I'm making this product, what are the raw ingredients that are going into it? Can I do enough research on Google and maybe at the library to kind of get an idea of what it's going to cost me to make this product? Okay, and it's going to be just very broad strokes. You won't know. You may have to go to China to get it manufactured. So you really won't have the accurate idea of what it's going to cost. But you should spend some time now before you spend anything more than what it cost you for the paper and the pencils and the clipboards or the iPad, to try to get just kind of a really sketchy cost for your product. And then when we go out again, we're going to ask more questions about our product. So if you have the ability to like go to a makerspace and make a little model of whatever your product's going to be, a little prototype. If it's software, there are a couple of different pieces of software that can make a wireframe, so you can make it kind of look like the software and kind of show how it's going to function. Balsamic is one of the ones, and I don't think it costs a lot. There are several sort of wireframe software packages that are out there, and some of them may give you, a free month or so to try it. Again, that may be one of those cases where how long does it take me to learn how to do the software to make it show the thing that I'm trying to show, when if you just took a piece of paper and a pencil, you might be able to draw it just as well. So now that we have created our prototype or our sample product, we want to go back to another populated place and ask more questions. And so if you had a really good rapport with any of the people in your first set of questions, you can ask for their email or their phone number. If they're really especially excited about your solution, they may offer it to you, because you are going to tell them, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to redesign what I thought I needed to do as the solution. And I will come back and I will talk to more people about it. Would you like me to contact you? And in many cases, they're going to say yes. So this isn't when you actually have a working prototype, because that would be after this, the next step. So you're going to go back to Fremont Street. You're going to stop strangers again. And this time you'll start with, a couple of weeks ago, I had this idea for a business. I came to Fremont Street. I talked to a bunch of people to find out if it was a problem. And I got a lot of positive responses. And so I went back to my desk and I started figuring out how to actually make this thing work. And so let me tell you what the problem was that led me to build this. And so now you're going to describe the problem as it first came to you, the situation. And then you can give credit to all the people that helped you in customer discovery of the first phase. And this is the solution that I've come up with. So now that you know the problem, do you think this will solve the problem? Why or why not? And so it really is helpful if you have more than one person with you to help jot down all of these answers and the feedback that you're getting. And they can hold it if you've made something. And you can ask them, what else do you think it should do? Because now that they have something that's a little bit more real, either a sketch or something to hold in their hands, they may be able to say, oh, why doesn't it do this? And so they can give you ideas about how to improve that product to give it more value so that possibly you could charge more for it. How would you change it? And some people may even say that it needs to be a different color. There's no telling what you're going to learn in this second discovery phase. Then you can ask, do you think others that you know with this problem would like this solution? And they may not have the problem themselves, but they may know people. And so you can ask them if they know other people that have this situation, and do they think that they would like this solution? What would you be willing to pay for this solution? How often would you buy it? Would you consider testing an early version of this if I made it? And so now is the time, if you can, to get them to give you their contact information. And having early testers of your product is really invaluable. They will tell you when they have friction points, when they thought it should go left and it went right. And there may not be any conscious reason for why they thought it should go left. But if you keep hearing this from different early testers, I thought it was going to go left and it went right, then you should make it go left. You should take this feedback that you have, if there is evidence that many people thought it should do something and it did something else. You can try to get to the bottom of that, but you may just more delight your customers if you build the actual version of it so that it does the thing that people expect it to do. If this is not the solution for you, do you think it solves the problem for anyone else? And who are they? And if you wanted this product, where would you expect to be able to find it, to purchase it? So in the first set of questions, you're probably going to spend at least 10 minutes with somebody. If things are going well in this second set of questions, and they're touching and they're holding the product or they're asking you questions, you just want to go with it. You just want to take in as much information as you can. And since we did ask them, what would they be willing to pay for it and how often would they buy it? And you did that little bit, Candace, I'll get to you. And you did that little bit of research on what the costs are going to be. Then now when you walk away from this day of spending at Fremont Street or a flea market or at an outdoor concert, you'll have a pretty good idea whether this is an idea you should pursue, and if you're going to be able to make money at it in the very early stages. We expect you to have economies of scale if you're producing an actual product when you get into full production mode, when you're at scale. But in the beginning, as you're just having a few prototypes made or you don't have enough money to do a long production run, then it's going to cost more per unit. But as sales increase, the unit price will go down. All right, Candace, what was your question?
Good evening. My name is Candace. I had a couple of questions, only because my business is somewhat like the other lady, where I'm a tax preparer and I do taxes seasonal, where we plan on actually having virtual, where I have clients that's out of state and we do taxes from summer everywhere. My only concern will be like I don't have a prototype, but maybe because I do online e-filing, maybe I can come up with some of an idea of just basically fast filing tax preparing.
Fast filing? Yes. So to me, and there's other people that are in this tax business as well. There's plenty of tax business to go around. How do people gain a good reputation as tax preparers? It's if they work quickly and they work within the time frame that they say they're going to do. So everybody knows you're going to be super busy in March and April. So as you build your customers, this is when you should invite them at the end of January. Hey, everybody, I am ready to do your taxes. So the sooner you get your taxes in, the sooner I can work on them for you. And you may, I just think the most important thing for this, where your reputation is really your business. So making promises that you keep in terms of timelines and being good at your job. So those are the two things. There's plenty of business to go around.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Anything in the room? Oh, hold on. One question in the room.
Yes.
Should we go to Annabelle while Fred gets the mic? Okay.
Hi, good evening. I wanted to ask a question in regards to right before you scale. You hit a very important topic with pricing. Since the price changes, like your cost per item generally, goes down, does that mean that you get to reduce your price per product when you eventually, or you just keep it the same and just count it as gain?
Well, we have an expert on pricing, Mark Stiving, who's going to be doing the session on pricing, and I don't remember what the day is. We could get back to it. Yes, you want to build in enough margin so that when you don't have lower unit costs, you can still make a profit and stay in business. You do have the option of lowering your prices as your costs go down, but if you're not experiencing a lot of competition, I don't know why you would do that. You can offer promotions here and there, which makes your customers feel like you're taking care of them, but your product will have a perceived value, and that's what you should price it for. And Mark will talk more about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Scher?
Yes. Hi, Maggie. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. I'm running a workforce consultation business. So basically trying to provide research evaluation as well as a workforce curriculum development training service to small business, nonprofit, and maybe even government agencies. So like my question is like, I have a general idea like what kind of problem I can solve to them because they usually don't have this kind of expertise. The people around them, however, everyone's problem is different and the solutions can be very customized and individual. So for me, maybe I kind of want to hear about your suggestions for maybe as a startup, like should I offer a lot of solutions or should I just focus on small area? And in my kind of like a consultation business, like what kind of way it is to for scaling up and like what kind of strategy I should proceed when reaching out to potential customers.
Okay, well, you named a lot of different customer potentials. So it was nonprofits, it was, did you say government? And
Yeah.
different organizations that need to do training within their businesses?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
workforce development training, curriculum development. Yeah,
Yes.
grants
So
support.
you mentioned government, business, and nonprofits.
Correct.
Who has the most money out of all of those? Business. Nonprofits have uneven income. Government has very long procurement processes. So if you have to pick one to focus on, I would focus on the business aspect because they have the funds for the training. The other two may have funds, but as I said, their cycles are longer. And the nonprofits, especially because I run a nonprofit, the income can be very uneven. Like you get a new administration in the White House and you just don't know what kind of nonprofit grants are going to be available. Business, on the other hand, needs to stay in business. And so if you are offering workforce training for specific businesses, you may even be able to create partnerships with certain types of businesses so that you are delivering the curriculum, or if you only want to develop the curriculum that they have to then deliver to their workforce or to their potential workforce, you can still create a very long-lasting relationship with the business if you're able to train those people, develop a curriculum that trains the people well enough that it shortens the onboarding process for them. And it teaches a new skill to a company where everybody is sort of feeling their way through AI and how it's going to affect their businesses. If you're able to be very current and able to work in new technologies, then I think that you will have a very good business. Okay, Victoria. Irwin?
Hi, yes.
Hi.
Okay, so my business is a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365 play care. So it's a pickup drop-off service for anyone to drop their kids off. I guess I'm trying to figure, so it's a non-traditional daycare. I guess I'm trying to figure out, understand what my approach should be when I'm approaching strangers and I'm asking these questions because I'm wanting to get these answers to make sure that I'm headed in the right direction. But I don't, you know, people may look at me funny. I'm talking about their kids, and then I turn around and ask them for their email address or their phone number to keep in contact. I don't have anything to show because I don't have it's a startup. So I
Yeah.
don't have a physical facility. So what I want to make this, you know, I want to put my best foot forward with this. And I'm just,
I think customer discovery for you is going to be key. And I think I think people will be very excited about the opportunity that you're providing. So yes, I would go up to Fremont Street, but your problem is very easily identified. Like your parents and your work and school only takes so much time. And what happens when your mother falls in Minnesota and you have to go take care of her, but your husband works on a boat and he's gone for 3 months at a time? Are you going to take the child out of school and take him or her with you to where grandma is? I mean, you could create scenarios where parents, they can relate. Like, they know that there are times when it's just really tough to be a parent. So you need to frame your questions to try to discern whether you really need to have 24-hour care. Could it just
Okay.
be 18-hour care?
Okay.
You know, if it's just really early in the morning or really, you know, into late at night, if it covers the weekends. And if parents did want to leave their kids overnight in a licensed daycare, what kind of features would they want that daycare to have? I think you need to ask a lot of questions like that. Would you want to
Okay.
know there was a nurse at night? Would you, like, you don't want to lead them down that, because of course they're going to say yes, right? So you want to ask them questions like, do you think that they should be within so much distance to a hospital? What else do you think would be the ideal situation for you to be able to leave your child overnight in a licensed daycare? What aspects would you want to see? And just kind of leave the questions really open, because you've got a lot of customer discovery to do.
Okay. Okay. And then I wanted to add one other thing. So I've come up with what sets me aside from my, what sets me aside from other businesses that's doing the exact same thing. So I'll be also working with children who are neurodivergent. And so I'm wanting to make sure that those parents also understand that if they're bringing the infant and maybe the toddler is ADHD, that they feel comfortable bringing the toddler as well. So how do I fit that into the questions?
I think that you have to keep it kind of open-ended and just say special needs.
Okay.
And if they ask what special need, because it may be something different for each person.
Okay.
So if you have 2 children and one has maybe a special need, it could be dietary or something else, right? Because that's kind of the easiest thing to deal with.
Yeah.
How would you want that to go? How would you want to know that we are paying attention to whatever the special needs of your child are?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Maggie.
You're welcome. You are gonna probably, I would think that you would be able to be part of some Facebook groups where you can pose these questions to the general public, and you're going to get a ton of answers. And it's not going to be the same as doing it face to face, but it will get you kind of more focused on the questions that you need to ask. Because then you also have to consider, okay, what's it going to cost for me to make these accommodations for some special needs children? Like, am I going to have a completely separate refrigerator for kids who are allergic to certain products? Like, so that's kind of the path you should be going down, finding out Where is the greatest need? Where would you be able to charge a premium price? Because this is a premium service. To be caring for children overnight is a premium service. So you have to be able to figure out, what is it going to cost? Because you may feel like you're doing a great job and you may be offering a great service, but you may be running yourself ragged and not making any money. And so even though we are providing a service, it's a valuable service, so it should be valued. You should be able to make money.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Very good. Very good.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions? We have just a couple more slides. They're going to be pretty general.
Hold on.
Maggie, 1 second.
Okay.
Which one?
Right here, Fred. You can stand right here and just speak into.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay. Now I can.
Very good. So first of all, thank you for all of this information. It was really helpful, I think, to a lot of people, if I'm correct, right? So I have kind of maybe 2 or 3 part question. Number one is, I noticed you used all throughout this session, you used products, right? You used the Palm Pilot, which I remember very quickly. I remember having to go through connecting that and trying to get it to work for my boss multiple times. It's very stressful. I noticed you talked about the iPhone, and then you talked about researching products and even going over to China, correct?
Yes, but I mean, most of the questions we've had have been around services or around artistic products.
Yes.
Okay.
So would you, those examples I'm talking about, they seem to be, right, consumer products, right? The iPhone, the Palm Pilot. If I go to source a product over in China, right, if I'm asking people out in Fremont Street, what do you think about this gadget, right? That's a consumer product.
Yes, generally speaking.
Yes. So I saw a clip today about Jeff talking about that StartUpNV doesn't typically invest in consumer products. So my question is, I have a consumer product. There seems to be other people here with consumer products. Are we a good fit for this ecosystem investment incubator? If he clearly states we don't typically invest in consumer products.
Okay, well, this incubator is just that. It's not an accelerator. You're not going for capital investment. Okay, if you're interested in that, that is called StartUpNV. It's a different program. It's not what we're doing here. And so for that, for FundNV, what they do generally prefer is a business to business product or service.
Okay, good.
Okay, so it's not business to consumer so much.
Right. Okay, I just want to make sure I was on the right track and I wasn't wasting my time. So that's good. It's very clear.
Yeah.
But it still makes me eligible for the pitch competition at the end, right?
Yes. So this Incubate Vegas program and the funding that you're eligible at the end, if you do the 6 sessions and you the demo, that is a grant. So that is not even the same kind of thing that FundNV do. FundNV makes an investment and they're giving you an investment and they're getting an equity, a piece of the company. This Seed Vegas grant, which is what we're calling it, is a grant, and it's not, you don't have to pay it back.
Right, right. Okay, no, I got it. I just I needed to be clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Fred.
And it's from Clark County. Okay. Was there another question?
I have a quick question, Maggie.
I can't see who's talking, but go ahead.
My name is Matt.
Matthew, okay.
So I have a marketing company, marketing service. Keep it pretty simple. And, I think it would make sense to, I guess, cold call who I think would be potential customers for an exercise like this. Would that be something you recommend, or is that kind of too targeted?
Are you hoping to make them customers? The people that you're cold calling?
If they want to be, but it would be mostly for, just to run through this exercise.
Yes. So for somebody like you who is doing a service that's more of a business to business service, I often recommend if you're going to a trade show or some other sort of trade association type meeting, that is where it's good to talk to other people that are in the business. Now, you may be thinking that these people are your competitors. They might be. They might be. But those types of meetups where you're meeting with your competitors, you can learn a lot about how they go after their market. And then when it comes to customer discovery type stuff, you might be able to do something on TikTok, do a poll, do one of those polls that go on social media. And so you can't be as thorough, right? You can't ask as many questions, but you can kind of like chip away at some of the questions.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I know you kind of talked about, having a set of questions and then following up with, the next set of questions. So I guess the way I was thinking about it was, it makes sense to kind of have their phone number, have their email, and if they are interested, then making them, a potential client, just kind of knocking out a few birds and with it's done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. All right, I see Leanne has a raised hand.
Hi, Maggie. Can you hear me?
I do hear you. Thank you.
Hi. So, my girlfriend and I have an idea for a startup, and it's healthcare manufacturing. I haven't heard too much about that here. I'm actually a blood bank lab tech
A phlebotomist?
I'm sorry?
A phlebotomist?
No.
Okay.
I am a medical laboratory scientist with a specialist in blood banking. I ran a transfusion service at the VA.
Okay.
Where we actually figure out if the blood is compatible or not before it goes to the patient.
Okay.
So, and my friend is an RN with infusion experience. And right now, because of what happened in North Carolina, there is again a shortage of healthcare saline.
Okay.
So that is kind of our idea, but I don't think there's too many people on Fremont Street that would be
that would be able to even talk about saline?
Yes,
Sterile
exactly.
saline?
Yes, yes.
But you want to go into manufacturing it?
Yes, here.
Oh, okay. Do you know what's involved in doing that? I don't. I mean, so I'm asking if you already have an idea what the process is like.
We're still working on that. We are in the very idea phase to see whether or not this is doable. But I have plenty of experience with FDA and good manufacturing practices due to the blood bank. And so, and then I've been doing some research and everything. So this, like I said, this is a startup idea that we're still just really trying to determine whether or not we know there's a need for it. It's just whether or not we're going to be able to do it is where we're still doing a lot of the research.
Okay. So here are some things that I would want to do research on if I were you. I would want to find out who the big distributors are already, who the big manufacturers are, the facility that you're intending to build it in. Does it have to be a certain class of facility? How often does it have to be inspected? What other regulations are there around the whole manufacturing process and the site where it happens? You are starting with water, right? So where are you getting
We're going to get the water, exactly. In a desert, I know, right?
Well, yeah, it occurs. And then find out how, because there is this sort of shortage, because there was such a big need, how cyclical is this business? It seems like it wouldn't be that cyclical unless there is kind of a disaster. So
actually, no, it's been a problem for many years.
Okay.
It's one of the, I actually have already contacted a pharmaceutical watchdog out of University of Utah. And he said it's one of the most concerning out of the top 30 drugs that are often found in shortage. And because we use saline anytime a unit of blood is started, I've seen these saline shortages before.
Okay, well, it sounds like it could be a good business and you could be the person to do it. The other thing the direction I was going down was like distributors, and how hard is it going to be to enter this market? Like, is some big player going to try to squish you down?
Yeah, that's, like I said, we're still in the startup phase, and actually, I'm working with Warrior Rising as well because I'm a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend and I, we joined this hoping to maybe get some ideas on what is some of the Nevada specific requirements to this sort of thing as well.
Yeah. On the other hand, if you're a veteran, and so you may be able to get that special designation as a veteran owned business, and you can get your government contracting license and get it in there. So you might be able to supply to the government, the DoD, the veterans hospitals, the ones
Right.
you're already working for.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're pretty familiar with that phase, but you have a lot of research to do.
I know.
But it does seem like there's a need, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
I
this is Juan
mean,
Rangel.
I get an infusion every quarter, and I was actually talking to my infusion center nurse and said, "Hey, have you had a problem with getting saline?" And he hasn't, because he gets most of his drugs out of California, which they do have a small manufacturer in Irvine. But he said he knows a lot of people that are still having problems.
Okay, so if he can introduce you to that manufacturer in Irvine, it'd be worth it for you to take a tour too.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking, and I can probably figure that out myself. I just was kind of curious what you thought. Um, you know,
Yeah, research.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely. So okay, thank you.
You're welcome. There was somebody else who had their hand up for a while, and I don't know if they automatically go down after a little bit, so I apologize. If you want to raise your hand again. Otherwise, maybe we'll just go through the rest of these slides pretty quickly because I'm taking up a lot of your time today. Okay, so you can revisit the description of your solution, because now that you've talked to a bunch of customers, you can name the benefits that they are perceiving from the product or solution that you're going to offer. And so you're able to use their own words to describe how your product or service solves the problem. So, and this is the formula of the value proposition. This thing does that thing to solve this problem. Okay, so in the case of the tax lady, so Maggie's tax service does your taxes in a reasonable amount of time for a fair rate, so that you don't have to worry about your taxes being sent in by April 15th. Okay, and Jennifer, I take it you're not talking to me, you're talking to somebody else. Oh, EmployNV. Great. That's a great organization. Yes, you two should talk. Also, what I've noticed for Nevada is that we have a tech hubs here in Northern Nevada, and we have an NSF engines in Southern Nevada around water sustainability. And both of these two sort of biggish problems, or biggish grant centers, are looking for workforce development for their respective fields. So the Tech Hub in Northern Nevada is all around energy and lithium and recycling of energy, renewable energy. And so the colleges are looking for workforce development for these specific career fields up there. And then down here in Southern Nevada for the Swissy project, Southwest Sustainability around, I don't know, water, but they are looking for workforce development programs also for those career fields. And Manufacture Nevada, it's not Manufacturing Nevada, it's Manufacture Nevada. That is a group that you should be contacting too. All right, let me quickly go through the rest of our slides here. So the next steps after you're discovering whether there are customers for your product, you're going to do market research to figure out which market you fall under, and we're going to talk about that on Wednesday. You're going to do competition research to figure out who else is already doing what you want to do. And then we're going to continue to try to work out what it's going to cost to provide this product or service. And here is the check-in. Like we haven't beaten you guys up enough yet, but here's the QR code for the check-in. And Disco will have the PDF of the customer discovery questions and some other information in there as well. Like it'll have the deck also. Okay, I can stop sharing. So thank you all for coming tonight. Does anybody have any questions at this point?
Maggie, can you go back to the last slide? Sorry.
Okay, and I'll have to share again. Was that for the QR code?
No, the one before.
The one right before.
Oh, all right. I'll go back then. Let me share. Gotta make it big. Let's go slideshow. Oh, the next steps, this one?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And Jason, you have a question?
Yeah, just real quick. I live in California. Does that make me ineligible for the pitch event for
Yes,
the seed? Okay,
it does. You have to be a Clark County resident.
I thought so. Okay, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
I have a quick question. Is there a limited amount of people that will be able to qualify for the grant, or for basically everybody that successfully goes through the program?
No, it is limited. It's limited to 50 total grants. And you should know that you guys are in cohort 5, and there will be another cohort 6 after this. It starts in May, and it will finish by the end of June. And so we've had the first round of applications, and we've accepted 9 companies into the SeedVegas program. So there are 41 grants remaining for the next 2 application windows. There'll be an application window after this cohort is over. And we give you a week. If you didn't do your pitch demo, you can record your pitch and send it in to us, and we give you an extra week to do that. And then the application window will be open for 2 weeks, and then it closes. And then we will make some more selections. And then we'll have cohort 6, and we'll have another application window after that. And if you don't make it in the first application window, you can apply in the second and also in the third. But it is not open to nonprofit businesses, just so you know. So the requirement is you have to have graduated, and we already told you what the requirements for graduation are. And you have to be a business in Clark County. You don't have to have created your business yet. If you haven't and you're selected, that's the first thing that we'll do. We'll set up your EIN, and we'll get you a business license. We'll do those really basic first steps for the business. And then we work together over a year. Each company has a coach, and they have a mentor team. And the money is deployed in tranches, meaning you don't get $25,000 up front. If we have to go through the process of helping to set up the business, then those costs will be reimbursed in the first couple of weeks. And then there are goals that are set between the coach and the mentor team and the founder. You're all working together to create achievable goals. And then some money will be released after that first set of goals is met. And then there is another set of goals, and then a third set of goals. And you can take up to a year, but if you work through your goals and you get it done in less than a year, that's great.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Can I stop sharing now?
We good? Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Maggie.
Okay. All right, everybody. I just want you to, see my face so you know who I am when you see me. Oh, and I'm in black and white on, Startup Nevada. Okay. All right. We'll see everybody on Wednesday. Remember, that's at CSN West Charleston. We're in Auditorium 101 of Building D, and your mentors will be there too.